Hello and welcome to another episode of the Golden Hour Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Mays, and today's guest is Peter Lindgren, all the way out in Sweden. Thank you, Peter, for being here today on the show.
Thank you for having me, kind sir.
So, Peter, I've been seeing your content over the last couple of years, and I just want to kind of hear your story because it's been fun to kind of see what's happening. It's been fun to see your reels pop up with the Nerf guns and crazy things. You've got two channels. You've got the vlogs. You've got the gear focus thing. I really just want to kind of figure out, like, who is Peter, where you come from. I know there's DHL involved. I know bodybuilding's involved. There's just a lot of aspects to you. So let's just begin with, like, who are you?
That's simple question. No, but I think I'm no different from anyone else. I think like I started my entire journey just as anyone, picking up a camera. But before that, it was like I dropped out of high school. That was kind of the start of my entire career, as we say. But I was bullied, and I really did not like studying. So I had when I dropped out of high school, I had how do you say in English when you have when you just pass the score for a grade? Is that what is C?
Yeah, D. Yeah,
D.
F would be like a fail, but a
Yeah.
D is like as close as you can get to a fail.
So everything in all the different subjects that we had in school, there was only two that had an F in or D in. What was it, like D?
Yeah, it's fine.
F was failure across the board, and the only two subjects that I succeeded in was in I think it's called homeschooling, and that was
Okay.
because we didn't have it the last year, and then it was English, which is what I'm doing these videos in when I'm doing YouTube, and I kind of just dropped out because, the bullying and all that stuff, it was too much and I didn't want to be a part of that. I had really bad teachers that didn't help at all. Like I had one teacher come out to me when I was sitting in the hallway when there was a class, and he was like, "Peter, you should be in the class." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, duh." And then he said, "Yeah, but do you know what's going to happen if you don't go to the class?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, don't tell me." And he's like, "You're not going to have a job. You're going to live on the streets. You're not going to be able to be anyone." And I'm like, "Well, you."
Seriously.
That's it. And then I just left because, being a teacher and approaching a youngster in that way kind of gives the opposite thing from what you want. But from that point on, I started working with my dad as a metal workshopper, and worked with him back and forth up until I was 18 years old. But then our relationship kind of started to get a little bit edgy, and then I decided to go and get another job, and I took a forklift driver's license, and I got a job at a hardware store to unload everything that was coming in, all the pallets, all the building materials and stuff like that. And from that point on, I just drove the forklift, really.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think I worked on that specific spot for 4 years, maybe. And then I got laid off. Just one morning they said "Hey, Peter, come up." Okay. And then we're going to have to lay off because our company is not doing well right now. We have to get, lay off people that came in late and hasn't been in the company for a long time. And I was like, "Oh yeah, okay. So what am I going to do?" And they're like, "We don't know." It's sorry. It's okay. So
Wow.
I went to the unemployment, what do you call it? Unemployment service that we have here in Sweden. And then I got 3 months of allowance from the government. And I decided to start my own brand, which was basically bracelets with a hashtag on it. That was it.
Okay. Cool.
And it was focused within the like fitness and health. So the hashtag said in Swedish, like, I have the will. And I decided to sell those on Instagram as my main like platform. And it wasn't until like 2 months after that I realized that the actual import fee together with the cost for the bracelet cost me more than actually selling the bracelets.
Oh wow.
I
Oops.
should have stayed in school, Peter.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, from that point on, I decided to start my own workout clothing apparel business, and thought it was too expensive to hire a photographer.
Mhm.
Asked a friend, "Hey, can I borrow your camera?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, take it." And started taking the photos. And that is actually when I built this office space that I'm sitting in back in 2015, I think.
Okay.
And my dad is the owner of the building, so I asked him, "Hey, can I build a small space where I can have like a studio so I can take product photos?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. I'm gonna just as long as you keep down the costs, then it's gonna be
Mhm.
fine." So I did that, and did that for like 2 years, and then there was kind of like the nail in the coffin was when again I miscalculated the import fees on clothing.
Uh-huh.
So I actually had to take a loan of like 10 grand to be able to pay for the import fees that
Oh my
I
goodness.
didn't calculate. So I was like, and then I started working on DHL as a like unloading the boxes onto the conveyor belt, and saw a lot of potential in the workspace. Decided to do my absolute best and worked there for 2.5, 3 years, and
Mhm.
got promoted eventually to a supervisor of the same department as I was working in. And also during that time, I started my YouTube channel in 2018, and just got tired of DHL.
And so the filmmaking journey really was out of like just a means to an end. You just simply needed to take photos and video for your work.
Yeah, it all started because I thought it was too expensive to hire a photographer, and then I felt that like I can do this. I can do this myself. It can't be that hard as long as you have a good camera. Didn't know anything about lenses or anything like that. It's like get a good camera and you're set. So for me, it was more like just picking that up, starting to do a lot of trial and error, and
Mhm.
I didn't really like the photography aspect that much, but I did it because I wanted to learn. But then when I saw Casey and Peter, making these videos on YouTube,
The other Peter. Yeah.
yeah, the other Peter, I kind of felt that video was more interesting. And that is kind of when I started to venture into trying to do my own vlogs, which was incredibly hard, by the way.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was where it all started back in I think it was 2015 where I picked up a camera first
Wow.
time.
That's amazing. And so you just kind of were inspired by Casey and Peter and just kind of experimented and figured out how to do it is
Yeah.
essentially what happened. But you were also I think it's interesting how I don't want to ask how old you are, but I'm 31 and it's like I've been doing stuff as an adult for a while now. And so there's so many things in your life that have led up to this. Like it's a kid who's going to stumble across your channel, be like, "Oh shoot, how do I have a studio? How do I get this and that? How do I have these connections?" It's like you've been an adult for a while, you've met people, you
Yeah.
had a studio space, you built businesses, like all those things have added to the value and the storytelling that you're able to do on your YouTube channel just because you've lived. I think
Yeah.
that's really fascinating.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just as you said, the storytelling comes from the experiences. I think
Mhm.
that is one thing that a lot of people forget, and something that I tend to remind everyone of is that there's 8 billion people here on planet Earth, but there's only one that has lived your life, and that is you.
Yes.
So like the experiences that we share is something
Yes.
that other can relate to and be a part of, but it's not until you share it that
Mm.
you'll find the audience.
I think you're such a great role model for people because you aren't in America. You are in Sweden, and you've been able to create this. I don't know if that's a thing that
Thank you.
people say in Sweden or in other countries, but like it's like, oh well, I'm not American, so I can't do XYZ. And it's like
Oh yeah, for sure.
that's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of YouTube is you're able to build the. We're talking right now over the internet. I mean, this is
Yeah.
wild. Like I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. You know, it's like
It's
it's
like
really wild, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, as you said, there's a lot of people here in Sweden that limits their own capabilities because of the language barrier or because they don't know how to connect with someone in the United States or something like that. But internet is really the one place where you don't have any limitations today.
Mhm.
There's so many platforms that we can use, and YouTube is only one of all of them that is totally free to start publishing your work on. And then
Totally.
if it works out, they even pay you to publish your work.
It's wild, yeah. I don't know if you've been following the news with like TikTok and the way that they pay creators.
Yeah.
It's they don't pay creators
It's
basically.
like the creator fund, right?
Yeah, and it's there's like an amount of money that they're giving away, and as more creators come into the pool,
Yeah.
the money is less and less for the big creators. So people who are getting like hundreds of millions of views are getting like a couple $1,000s. Like it's insane. And YouTube is such a fair. I feel like it's the most fair revenue split of any social media. I think what is it? Is it 60-40, I believe, for the
Yeah.
creators? So it's
And I think it's totally like totally good that it is like that, because considering that Google is supplying the platform, they're supplying
yeah.
the algorithm, the search terms, the analytics, everything. The only thing that we do is the receiver and upload the content. And then I think it's weird when people are or I totally get that people always want more money. That's how it is.
Sure.
But I think it's weird that people are complaining that they're not getting enough,
Mhm.
because we have the possibility to go to a TV channel and say, "Hey, here's my channel. Do you want to send it on prime time?"
I mean, I've seen interviews with Mr. Beast how he's actually had meetings with Netflix, and they won't even hire Mr. Beast to make a show on Netflix. I think that's a huge mistake. Like, it's ridiculous. Could you imagine like a Mr. Beast show where they've got a huge budget? Like
Yeah.
he would blow it up. But
Oh, for sure.
anyways, well, congratulations for being a father. I'm a father
Thank you.
myself, and
How
how
old are
had
yours?
I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I have 2 boys,
Ah,
and they
goodness.
are crazy and fun, and, I don't know about you, but, like, as soon as I had the kids, I at first, it was kinda like, "This child is, like, interfering with my life," and then
Yeah.
and then after a couple of months of, like, really connecting with the child, I don't know, maybe the mother has more of that connection because they carry the child,
Yeah.
but once I really it just clicked for me at a certain point where it's like, "Oh my gosh, I will do anything for this child. I will throw away every single thing that I've ever built for this kid." Like, career doesn't matter anymore to me. Like, everything about this child is, what I'm focused on. And so, I don't know, like, the career that I have is amazing and I love it, but the joy and the fulfillment that I get in being a father is kind of insane. I don't know if you can relate, but
It's one of those things that you can't really explain, right?
it's hard to explain. Yeah.
For someone that doesn't have a kid, uh, it's amazing to see someone just grow every single day. There's like new words, there's new sentences, there's new like imaginations coming out, and you just
Mhm.
see this person becoming a part of who you are,
Mhm.
but in their own way. It's like it's mind blowing. I think it's yeah. So I get
Yeah.
the feeling. I totally get it.
What do you use to document his life? Do you use your nice cameras or are you like just using your phone most of the time?
Everything. I try like as much as I can. I want to use the nice camera, and
Yeah.
whenever I'm doing like a vlog or anything like that, the things that make it into the YouTube video is just a tiny, tiny percent of what I captured that day when it
Hmm.
comes to the family.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I'm the same way. I'm kind of always taking pictures and video, and I've gotten a good workflow where about once a month I'll just gather all the videos together, throw it in a timeline, and then just export it out. And I have a private YouTube channel, and I chapter it based on the
that's
day.
awesome.
And so like I just have this whole archive of like 40 or 40-minute, hour long, home movie clips basically on YouTube, because it's like it's free hosting. So it's like,
Yeah.
why not just upload it on there? So
And it's also a
um
great way to do it, just as you said, take the clips and actually edit it together. Because
mhm,
one of the biggest mistakes that we do, or at least my parents did, is that they shot a lot
mhm.
of footage, but it's just in cartons, on VHS tapes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well,
So
I don't edit it down to anything interesting really. I do just throw it on a timeline and just get it up and out. That way I can have access to it, but I don't like cut it down really that much because I don't have time to deal with that,
yeah.
But
Yeah, but then
um
again, you at least you do something with it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it's not
Exactly.
it's not like in an old NAS
Yeah.
drive in the corner just gathering dust.
Exactly, exactly. We're in a different era because we don't have tapes that we can just like,
Yeah.
physically put in a closet. I have to reuse my memory card, so I need to wipe it. So therefore, I need to just dump it and get it up. But
Yeah.
so I want to ask you about the two channel strategy. What your current thoughts are with it? You did the vlogs, but I feel like your main channel also is a vlog too in its own kind of way. So I just want to
It
like
is.
get your kind of current like perspective on the two channels, on the vlog versus the Peter Lindgren channel. I don't know if you saw Potato Jet is kind of stepping away from vlogs himself,
No, I
from
haven't
just
seen that.
yeah, he posted a video about it. Like he's gonna use his vlog channel as a place to experiment, but he's like, I need to just focus on the main channel. I I'm curious, like, how have you been able to think about the two channels? I mean, you've got the main one that has almost 600,000 subs, which congratulations, by the way, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And then your vlog channel, which is still growing and you're still experimenting, I assume, on there. So, what's your kind of strategy and your current thoughts on the two channels?
Well, I think one of the key things is that I've been having the thought for so long of why did I start making videos? It was
Hmm.
like because I wanted to have fun learning stuff, making videos that I thought was interesting for me to make. And while I still think that the tutorials and gear reviews are fun, it got to a point where I felt like I'm making these for the audience. I'm not making these for my sake. I'm making these because these videos are generating views and these videos are good for the algorithm and that kind of stuff. And I think that when you take your work and or when you take your hobby and turn that into your work, then you're going to be suffocated about only doing your hobby as a job. You're going to suffocate that eventually, and that is where I felt like I needed to have an outlet of just making videos that I think is fun. For example, when I
Hmm.
I uploaded a vlog today that has absolutely nothing to do with cameras. It's like me unboxing power tools and building a little bit of my studio and then cleaning in my apartment. That's it. It has nothing
Hmm.
to do with a tutorial or how to or camera gear or tech. It's one of those videos that I just enjoyed making because I wanted to make a video. And
Hmm.
when it comes to my main channel, I want to keep everything that is camera related, filmmaking related, and tech related on that channel
Hmm.
so that when I split things up, then I have a clear difference of like, okay, everything is going here, but it doesn't prevent me from adding in vlog elements into this channel as well. But this channel is not going to be related to anything that is remotely close to cameras and tech and that kind of stuff
Sure.
for the majority of the video, you know?
Yeah.
And when you see it as a business as well, I mean, like you can have the best cafe on planet Earth, right? And you have the most loyal customers. But then when you start selling dishwashers on your cafe, your customers are probably not going to buy the dishwashers because they came there because you had a cafe, right?
Uh-huh. Sure.
So when you think about YouTube channels that way, it's not much of a difference of running businesses. And if you think about Mr. Beast, he has multiple different channels. And then you also have TV like channels with different channels, different programs, different entities that is shown to different audiences. So
Mhm.
if I can expand my audience with a vlog channel and get people that are invested into me more as a person rather than what I talk about and what I teach, then I
Sure.
see that as a potential to grow even further as a content creator because this will generate more interest in the videos that I can post here for me.
Totally, and they kind of serve each other as well. So if you're doing a specific review or tutorial, there's kind of a behind the scenes of how you
Yeah.
made it. The vlog can kind of serve that. My question though, as a creator myself, I know the amount of editing required to do both of these things, and I know how distracted I can get as somebody who kind of struggles with ADHD a little bit. Like, how are you able to focus on the main channel, which is I would imagine is bringing in the
Yeah.
majority of your revenue, right? So obviously, to bring home the bacon to feed your family, you're going to focus on making money, obviously. But then you've got the vlog as well. So how do you split your time? And do you have editors? Do you have people that are helping you with that?
No, I'm still doing everything on my own and trying my best to come up with some sort of routine. Now that I have the studio build out, it's kind of like taking up too much time that I initially thought it would do. But
Sure.
I think what I said to myself is that when I'm editing a video for the vlog channel, it can take no longer than maximum 2 hours. That's it. So
Okay.
it has to be very like quick.
Just pretty linear. It's like,
Yeah,
as the day happened. Yeah.
exactly. And I think that when it comes to the vlog, I usually try to think of it like a linear timeline. Like I
Mhm.
start with the morning, and then eventually something interesting happens, and then I get a good thought, and then I spin off of that. But then when you have that edit done, then you can just move around the different segments to create a sort of interesting piece of content that the audience can watch. And I think that when people think about vlogs, they think in a linear fashion that it always have to be linear, right?
Yeah.
Start to
Yeah.
finish. But when you start seeing a vlog, you can add in transitional stuff that you shot
Totally.
3 days ago. You can add in a little bit
Mhm.
environmental shots. You can add in and then mix and match together so that it's more
Yeah.
interesting than it actually was.
But but everything you just said is more more editing time. So I'm like I'm trying to
Yeah, but
so
I
so how many vlogs are you doing a week then? So you're doing like a
I
couple,
right now it's been a little bit
two or
laid back, so I made like two a week is probably pretty good, but I did have a run
yeah.
last year where I did like 45 in a row daily.
Yeah. That's
But
cool.
it was fun because when you get into the habit of making a video every day, or at least I felt like that, then I also got faster at editing. So
Mhm.
in the
Totally.
beginning, I tried to think of, okay, how do I make this interesting? How do I make this interesting? And can I make the story more linear? But then I realized the day is the story, and the editing is what gives the pace. You know,
Yes.
so the more
Yeah, totally.
interesting my edit is, the easier it gets to create, you know, an interesting piece of content from something boring.
Totally. And there are two different strategies too. Like the vlog channel, you're really building super fans, people that are a
Yes.
part of your life that are watching your content. And yes, maybe the views aren't as high as doing a review of the new Sony blah 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 camera that comes
Yeah.
out, but you're building a fan base of people who really are invested in your life and they are
Yeah.
super fans. So I'm curious, because you have both, you have the main channel where you are doing those kind of bigger videos that can often, get, more significant views. But then you're also doing the vlogs, which are a lower, like, kind of baseline of views, but a deeper connection with your audience. I would just love to hear your perspective on those two kind of audiences of those two channels.
Yeah. When it comes to the bigger channel, I've definitely experienced what you said, that you can get a million views on a video,
Hmm.
but it
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily translate to a million dedicated people that will subscribe to your channel.
Hmm.
Um, so while I enjoy having a video that pops off on YouTube and gets like hundreds of thousands of views, it's still one of those things that, you know, anyone can get that if they have the right video.
Hmm.
But when you have a constant stream of just your everyday life and the views are super consistent, because if you look at
Yeah.
my vlog channel, you have like the views are super consistent on it. And
Yeah.
sometimes the views on my vlog channel are better than on my main channel,
Hmm.
like on some videos, because you don't really know what YouTube uh, is going to push out to a wider audience, or
Sure.
if your video is good enough. So when
Yeah,
I post,
you have
yeah,
about a consistent 6,000 people, it seems, that are kind of just always show up, like
yeah,
three to 6,000 that are just there.
exactly. And the thing is with those people is that they feel like they have a little bit of glimpse into Peter the person more than, Peter the filmmaker, or Peter the reviewer, or Peter the YouTuber. This is more like Peter behind the scenes, rough on the edges, doing the DIY and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that the audience that I have there is only going to grow. But the good thing is also that this audience that I'm growing are invested in to the things I do rather
Hmm.
than what I show and talk about. And I think that that is very interesting for the longevity of a channel, because I mean, you can
I
do
agree.
a great job such as Marquez, where you do tech reviews for 12 years, which is amazing. Like, he's so good at what he does.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, it's also, he doesn't really have to come up with the ideas as much as a filmmaker uh, generating channel, because we have to be creative with ideas with that is going to be unique, and we have to create a short film, we have to create that. But in the tech sphere, the companies create the content
Hmm.
for the people to make videos on. And I think that if I have that over here on my bigger YouTube channel with the reviews, with the tech, with the behind the scenes, then I can have everything else over here and have the audience,
Hmm.
an entirely different audience as well, that gets to know me as someone else. Because
Totally.
it's kind of interesting actually, because I've had a lot of people that has been saying that, I love your vlog channel more because it's more fun. Like, it's more
Hmm.
behind the scenes stuff. It's more personal in a way.
Well, and I've noticed too, like even with your most recent video with the 50 millimeter lens, it's kind of like on your main channel. It's
Mm.
kind of like a vlog,
Yeah,
It's so I would imagine that the skills that you're developing on the vlog channel are also translating over to your main channel, making it more,
absolutely.
tapping into the personality of Peter a little bit more.
Yeah, it is. And I think in a way I was kind of trapped in my thought process on how I would go about and do the things separately. But I talked with this together with Peter McKinnon as well when I met him down in Italy, where like he kind of got inspired by my vlog channel to start his own separate channel, because he has so many more things that he wants to do that
Yeah.
is not just related to filmmaking. And
Hmm.
we said that it's more of honoring the audience rather than trying to lure the audience into something that they might not like.
Exactly. That's actually interesting to hear that, because that's kind of how I was sort of viewing the other Peter's content. I was like, it seems like he doesn't want to necessarily do the camera filmmaking stuff anymore, and he's trying to force me to watch his vlogs on his main channel. But it's interesting to hear that he was thinking that way, and he's like, well, actually, yeah, let's honor the audience that came here for that. which is
Yeah.
that it seems to be a very clear focus now. That you both seem to have some clarity on all this, which is good because it's just an interesting way that YouTube works. Like I think because we grew up with channels, meaning TV channels that have multiple shows on a channel, you think you could have multiple different types of content on one channel. But the way that YouTube really works best is if you just focus on what the channel is. Like, your main channel blew up reviewing gear and behind the scenes stuff. So just keep it that and then make a new channel that's different instead of trying to pull the audience back and forth with all these different types of shows on one channel essentially.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's not really anything different if you see it as a show, because I mean, like, you have the Peter Lindgren show. People
Yeah.
sign up for the behind the scenes, as you said. But then Peter Lindgren comes with power tools and unboxes his new screwdriver. People are going to be like,
Mhm.
wait, what? I signed up
Yeah.
for camera gear and here I'm getting
Yeah.
like a screwdriver. What is going on?
Exactly. It's all about, and that's really what the current kind of YouTube space is all about with the title thumbnail as well. Like you really want to deliver the title and thumbnail as quickly as
Yeah.
possible in the first 15 to 30 seconds, to prove to the people who are clicking on it, like I am talking about the thing that you clicked on, because that's really where the main disconnect happens and why people may have high click through rate but low retention on
Yeah.
videos is like if the title is really catchy and the thumbnail is really catchy, and maybe you do talk about the things that the title and thumbnail talk about, but it's not until 3 or 4 minutes in because you've got a bunch of vlog stuff at the beginning. Like I'm out in 30 seconds because you haven't addressed the title and thumbnail yet. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, totally. And I to spin off of that, I think it's one of the things that I see a whole lot, uh, when creators don't really know if they are going to make a vlog or if they're going to make it a review, is that they disguise it as
mhm,
something that it's not. And I think that when you start disguising your video as something that it's not, just because you want to get the views, then you're gonna do yourself a disservice instead of, what we said, honoring the audience. Because
mhm,
my second channel is literally called Peter Lindgren Vlogs. So when you
mhm.
sign up for that, when you hit subscribe, you know that this is gonna be vlogs. This is not
Yep,
gonna be, the
exactly.
polished reviews. And I
And even
think
your
I think
title and thumbnail are, it's clear
yeah,
that this is a vlog
it's just
channel. You know?
it's just like, you know, taking a screen grab from the video and then just making it an interesting dramatic title, and that's it.
Yeah. Which is the Casey Neistat format too. Like back
Yeah,
when he was blowing up, I would just click on any video that he would post. I didn't even really read the thumbnail or title, or I just kind of was like, "Oh, cool, new Casey video. I'm going to watch it," because it's
yeah,
a
and that was the
personality
same.
based channel. Yeah.
It is. And you go to his channel because you know that it's Casey. You
Hmm.
don't go to his channel because he's talking about the latest and greatest gear, right?
Exactly. And it's
And
because that's the audience that he built, and that's the format of his videos. So it makes sense.
yeah, and people get invested. And I think that when it comes to YouTube, I wouldn't start a second channel if I didn't have the audience to begin with, though. That is very
Yes.
important as well, because I made a video about this on my vlog channel a couple of days ago, where I talked about why nobody cares. And
Mhm.
I talked about how if you go to the grocery store and pick up a bunch of bananas and record that into your latest vlog, then nobody's going to give a shit, because you are a nobody unless you have the audience.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is that we are all going to the grocery store to buy bananas at some point. So why should I watch you go to the grocery store and buy bananas? Right. But if you have the audience that is invested into you, and
Mhm.
you have built up something that is what we can call a core audience, then those people want to join you in purchasing those bananas because they are there for you. They want to see what you are doing. So
Mhm.
in the beginning, nobody cares about what you're doing. So you got to build up an audience about something that you can share, something that you can provide value in, or something that you can teach.
Yes. And
I
but you still are adding value in the vlogs because you just mentioned that
Yeah.
whole message. You just shared
Yeah.
that is
Yeah, I
value in the
know.
vlog. So you're kind of like hiding the vegetables, which is what I heard Yes Theory say recently. Is like
Sweet.
Yes Theory, they used to focus on just making sure that they have very inspiring videos and things that inspire people to
Yeah.
go out and do stuff. And what's their slogan? It's seek discomfort is their like slogan or
Ah.
whatever. But they found that even though that's like a good cause and a great idea, like nobody cares. Like
Yeah.
people don't care about being inspired. So they had to find ways to kind of like hook the audience, come up with interesting concepts, and then hide the vegetables, is what they said. So like to their core, they do want to inspire people. They do want to like
Yeah.
have people, feel like motivated to go do things, but they can't make all their content wrapped up around like motivational thought by Yes Theory. Like they're just going to hide it within the kind of bigger concept that gets the click. So at least in this case, your vlog channel would be that. Like I'm signing up to watch the vlog, but then you're going to hide the vegetables within it and add value throughout it, which makes people want to show up every single day. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that also makes it for something interesting, because when I have a thought, I don't know about you, but when you're making a video, when I have a thought, I instantly want to execute. Like that is
Mhm.
how I feel. If I get a good idea, I want to execute it right now. So when I pick up the camera in the morning, I usually get an idea of, okay, I'm gonna start the video here, and then I'll see what unfolds. And then when I get to the next place and record myself, I get another idea that, or maybe not an idea, but another thought that I want to share with the camera. And then I
Mhm.
share that thought, and then I go to the next place, and then I share another thought. And eventually you have created some sort of like thought tree for that day, where you can like grab the different branches and then just piece it together into a broom, and then sell that broom to the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So
It's a different you're I'm inspired by this. It's a completely different workflow than what I'm currently doing. I'm spending an entire month on one video
oh
and
my God.
scripting it and having multiple people involved and including set pieces and doing,
Respect.
so I'm trying to figure that out because that workflow is exhausting to me. So but this is causing a lot of I don't think there's a right or wrong way. That's the beautiful thing about it
No.
too. But I've been doing gear reviews for the last 5 years, and it was all just like every day I'd wake up with a new camera and we'd just go shoot it, and it usually take us like 2 or 3 days to do a review. So we could usually do 2 reviews a week. So it was like
Yeah.
just cranking out review after review. Any camera that came out, I'd review it. And then when I worked for Indie Mogul, that was a little different, but it was still a similar kind of workflow, just on a bigger production scale. But yeah, I'm inspired by just your workflow and what you're doing too, because it's completely different, and it seems to be working. So, is it working? Are you seeing numbers growing? Are you making like a good living? Is it? Are you having a snowball
Yeah.
effect of like this is? Are you seeing a change the way you're doing this?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to compare as well, because the
Yeah,
luck usually comes to those who work hard. That's a saying that I love.
I love that saying.
And for me, it was, making the poker B-roll at the right time and being at the right place, basically. Because when I made
Mhm,
that video, the B-roll started to become a trend. And
mhm.
that trend was something that was a rising tide rather than something that was falling off. So when I made that video, it was at the end of 2019.
Yep.
And then I got a like whole load of subscribers from that. I think I got like 200,000 in a month. And
Mm,
when that happened was
that's
so
amazing.
timed, because in the beginning of 2020 something happened that most of us know as a pandemic, right?
Yes,
Um
of course.
so for me that was kind of like good in a way, because people stayed at home, people watched a lot of YouTube, so I could keep growing my channel. But I don't think it's fair to compare like those views towards today's views that most creators
Sure.
get, because it's an entirely different world today than it was back then, right?
Yep,
But
it is.
but as I'm seeing right now, the workflow is definitely generating more eyeballs on my content when it comes to a wider audience and more brands that wants to reach out because of the amount of videos that I have produced as well.
Hmm.
So I've been working together with DJI ever since
Hmm.
2020. I've been working together with Sony ever since 2019, and there's like building up this relationship is something that I value a whole lot because then eventually that generates some fruit from all the labor that I put in, you know?
Totally.
So, so yeah, I think that the workflow is good, but you also have to be a very disciplined person to be able to pull this off because doing what
Yes.
I do is not something that I would recommend to anyone that is in the beginning phases of their
Mhm.
journey.
Well, then that leads to the next question, which would be, what do you recommend for somebody who's starting out? You know, what is the Peter Lindgren kind of answer to that question?
I don't know. Like
I know,
this
right?
is such this is one of the
Just go
hardest
shoot.
questions.
Go
Yeah.
shoot stuff.
Yeah, but I think what you just said there is also one of the most boring answers, but also one of the best ones, right?
Mhm.
Because in the beginning, you're always overthinking things. You know,
Yep.
I have so many friends that want to start YouTube channels, but then they say like, I don't know what to shoot. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to
Yep.
make a video of. But then I say like, what do you want to make a video of? And then they say cameras. And then I say, do you have a smartphone in your pocket? And then they say yes. And then I say, well, make a video on the camera on the smartphone in your pocket. And they say like, yeah, but I can't do that. It's not that good. But then again, as we talked about previously in the podcast, nobody has heard your perspective on that said camera. So you're unique in that sense that nobody else has heard what you're about to say about the camera.
Mhm.
I think practicing the craft is more important than trying to figure out what you're going to shoot, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, that I've found, you know, you can sit around and pontificate, which is, you know, just kind of
That's
thinking
a good
about
word.
things. You like that word?
Yeah.
And by the way,
Pontificate.
you're for a dropout of English class, your English is on point. You've done a great
Thank you
job
very
today.
much. Thank you.
And I have utmost respect for anybody who knows any more than one language because most Americans are just super lazy and can only speak English. So thankfully it's worked out for us because everybody speaks English. So, uh, but you know, that's the terrible, arrogant American attitude is like, I don't need to learn anything. Everybody's going to learn what I speak.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
then
so
again,
arrogant.
it's also very, very good to have some sort of like international language, you know?
I know it is.
Uh, and I think
Spanish is
think that
big here. So
yeah, it is. But I mean, like, it's hard. Spanish is hard.
yeah, Spanish, German. What do you speak? Do you speak more than two or?
I know a little bit of German. I would say that I could probably get away going around in Germany only trying to understand because it's kind of similar to Swedish. So I know
Sure.
like my name is Peter is like ich heiße Peter und
Oh,
ich bin
nice.
30,
Oh, wow.
32 Jahre alt. That's
And
like my name is Peter and I'm 32 years old.
oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, we're about the same age. I'm
Yeah.
about to turn 32 this year, so in a couple months in August.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we grew up with all the same things.
Yeah.
Game Boy Color,
Oh, so good.
Nintendo 64. What else?
First Pokemon on Game Boy Color. That was the thing.
Yep. Yeah, I had the Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Red and Blue.
Those were the best.
Yo-yos. I don't know if yo-yos were big over there, but I got into yo-yos
I had like
when I was a kid.
Pogo. Was like
Pogo sticks
no,
or
not
Pogs.
Pogo.
Pogs.
Pogs.
Those little.
Yeah,
They
it's
were
like,
kind of like coins, but they were you would
yeah.
flip them and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Good times,
I
man.
think
Good.
the most fun thing about like all these toys is that when we were that age, nobody knew how to actually use them. We just
Yeah.
come up with, our own rules. Like, this is how it's gonna
Yeah,
be.
exactly. Yeah, Pokemon, like, people would just collect them, but there was a whole game,
Yeah.
nobody knew how to play the card game. It was
It
just
was
like.
like, look at my Charizard, it's the best.
And by the way, did you get Pokemon cards like first? Because I got first edition cards because I'm that old. So like going to the store to buy Pokemon cards was first edition Pokemon cards. I wish that I
Yeah.
saved them now because they probably would be worth something. But I never had a Charizard. But
Yeah. I had a couple of them, but I mean, like,
oh my goodness, let's not think about
it's,
it.
yeah, let's just
let's
leave it
not
at
think.
that.
Let's not think about the $1 million Charizard that you if you held on to.
That Charizard.
Yeah, Sony. You're a Sony guy. You
Yeah.
have been for a while. They've really stepped it up over the last couple of years with the A7S III, the A7 IV. I
Yeah.
mean, how's your Sony journey been treating you over the last couple of years?
I mean, I think Sony has been on the, how do you say, on the
On the
on the
rise.
edge of, on the rise, and they've definitely been pushing the boundaries of for content creators. But I think, like, right now, at the point where we're at, I don't see anything else that I would like to have in a camera, for the
Mhm.
coming 2 years. Because
Yeah.
the only thing that I can see is probably like, okay, 8K would be cool. But right now my camera is shooting like 4K 120. It
Mhm.
is 10-bit, everything that I want. There's good audio, there's great lenses, it's full frame. I don't have anything that I wish a camera could have now. And I think that all the other camera brands is kind of closing in on the same goal
Yeah.
of, just having good cameras. So it doesn't really matter which kind of brand you're shooting today. But Sony, yeah, they've been good. But I was trying out Peter's Canon R3 when I was in Italy, and that was a,
Mhm.
that was a good camera as well.
Well, it's funny. I have the C70. I've been a big fan of it, and I've been eyeballing the R3 over the R5 and the R5C because I don't like the high resolution. The R6 or the R3 has that like 6K to 4K down res. I think
Yeah.
it has better dynamic range as well. What were his takeaways from it? Is he using that as his primary like vlog camera?
Yeah, he was using it as the main camera, mainly because it was like, it's this beefy camera,
Yeah, it has some
and
good girth to it. Yeah.
yeah, it feels good, and it's like, it's far too heavy for me to walk around with on a regular basis, even though I have big arms. But it's like, it felt good. It was sturdy, and it's full frame. It had like 20 megapixels, something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's not
but
too
I mean, like,
high megapixel. It's good in low light,
yeah,
I think. But
it
the
it
IBIS
is.
the IBIS on those Canons is garbage. It just looks like a wobbly
Yeah,
mess. It drives me nuts.
it is. It's weird. It's weird. It looks strange.
And Sony has it on lock now. Like their IBIS is really smooth. I never see the wobble on a Sony camera at all.
No,
So,
they have a really good ibis, and I think, like, if anything, like, of an upgrade, I would like to see better stabilization in the camera for a future camera. But that's what I can think of. I mean, like, there's
mhm. But you've got
what
the
about you?
Sony's got the Catalyst browse, which I mean, if for a vlog, it would be annoying to have to use that to stabilize things with Catalyst
Yeah.
browse. But it is there if you need it, which is cool. I love when I went to NAB in Vegas. Every single creator that I know has a Sony now. They've all switched. Even the people that like Armando Fiera, who was known for being a Canon
Yeah.
cinema shooter for so long. He switched. Josh Yo was there, Potato Jet. They all had the Sony A7S III, and I'm walking around with this big chunky C70. And yes, it has C-Log 2. Yes, it's got the built-in NDs, which is great, but it's a crop sensor, so I have to use the little turbo booster thing. And now I'm using EF glass, which is ancient
Yeah.
technology, and it's super big. And then even with like Peter's R3 with the 15 to 35, that's a great lens. But that
Yeah.
lens is huge. It's huge. It's
It
massive. Like
is.
all the Canon lenses are massive compared to Sony's. Like, and Sony just released the new 24 to 70
Yeah.
GM version 2, and it's even smaller and lighter than the original. That's like it's got freaking declickable aperture ring on it. Like
Yeah, it's pretty
they just
cool.
they keep stepping it up, and like lens after lens, it just gets better and better. Body after body, it gets better and better. I'm like about to just throw in the towel and just like switch because it's just they're so freaking good. It's
I
and it
I th- I think one of the good things about Sony is that they've, like, ever since they dropped the full frame cameras, from the A7 Mark 1, it has been like one mount. And I think that
yeah.
that is
Mhm.
one of the things that really, really has made Sony, you know, come to the position that they're in right now. Because when you just buy a lens and then you can use any sort of mount on
Mhm.
any camera, like you can use the FX6, you can use a A6300, it doesn't matter. Like all the E mount lenses will fit, you know?
Yeah, that's the best
And
part. It's
y- yeah,
APS-C and full frame, which is it doesn't
yes.
exist anywhere else.
And then when you use like an APS-C lens on a full frame, it automatically recognizes that and just like crops in, which
Yeah,
is also one of the super cool features.
it's amazing. It really is.
Uh,
It's frustratingly amazing because it's kinda like, I don't wanna give in. I don't wanna do it, but they're making it harder and harder, and, I would miss my built-in NDs, which is really handy. I do
yeah,
really enjoy that.
I think Sony is saving that. Like better stabilization and built-in NDs in the size of an A7S III. That
Oh
would
my
be
god.
sick.
Well, like,
That
I
would
feel
be
like they
sick.
should have. I mean, obviously, it would be great if the FX3 had that, built in
Ah,
because
yeah.
that's a cinema camera, right? In air
Yeah.
quotes. Um, but they didn't do it, but to keep the size down. But you're right. I think that would be kind of the last kind of step for them is to like make a hybrid sized, FX3 sized
Yeah.
camera with that electronic ND technology that they have in the
It's so good.
FX6. And like, I don't care if it's $5,000. Like, I want that small hybridy sized full frame stable. I mean, I want everything. I want it all.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think we're closing up to a point right now, in a way where we can't really demand more from a
I
camera
know.
because
I know. I know.
they're so good. I mean, like,
They
you
are.
can't go out and buy a camera today that is bad. That's
Yeah.
impossible. Like if you buy new camera, that is.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
I
good.
mean, that Canon still sells the M50.
Yeah, but it
It's not.
would be usable though.
Yeah, of course, yeah, but not for $1,000. You should not spend
Yeah.
$1,000 on an M50.
No, do not. It's like I always
Have you
say,
s
like, if you're prepared to spend like $1,000, then try to save up for 1,000 more because
mm.
like the improvement is huge.
You're right. Even an extra 500 is like, yeah,
Oh yeah,
once you cross a certain barrier, like past $1,000, then you enter into that kind of prosumer,
yeah.
space, and the quality difference is huge. I don't know if you've seen, but the ZV-1 and the ZV-E10, those great compact little vlog sized cameras from Sony, they're just because of the chip shortages, they're just completely sold out, and they can't keep them on the shelves. So they've pulled them from Amazon, and they're actually like the ZV-1 is selling for like over $1,000 now because
That is
there's such
wild.
high demand for it. Yeah. And it's like a lot of people just, I guess they just hear or see the YouTube videos. It's like, hey, the ZV-1's a great camera for vlogging or for live streaming. And so many people are getting into that now because of the pandemic. They're just like buying out all the ZV-1s, but without knowing that like the A7C is pretty close to the price of a ZV-E10 now because of
Yeah,
the market has like shot through the roof with the ZV-E10. It's like, no, you shouldn't get that if you're going to spend over like $1,200 on a ZV-E10. Like, don't do that. Get an A7C.
yeah,
So
yeah. I agree on that, and I think the use case scenario for a CV1 is run and gun shooting. It's not a professional camera. It's just run and gun. Use it whenever you don't have another camera in
mhm.
the vicinity. That's it.
Well, you say that, but one of my upcoming videos is I shot an entire wedding on only the ZV-1. So, not only that, but I had to edit the whole thing by the end of the night and showed it to the bride and groom at the reception. So
That's intense. That's
yeah,
intense.
it was actually a ton of fun. We shot it. I'm working on the edit. Hopefully that'll come out next month. But I did a
Sweet.
same day edit using the ZV-1, and I got like a Black Pro Mist adapter to go on it. So like I actually have a nice soft kind of fall off, and I just shot it all on the standard color profile, and it doesn't look bad at all. And I told the bride and groom, I was like, yeah, I shot this on a really cheap, like kind of crappy camera. They're like, you did? So you can do it, but it's not a good idea because the battery dies like every 20 minutes.
Ah,
The
yeah.
built-in lens
It's the
isn't great.
worst.
Yeah, but it was just a silly concept. So
Yeah, but it's more like, you know, run and gun shooting. Whenever you don't have another camera accessible, then it is
Mhm.
fantastic camera. Or when you're starting out like your own journey and you want everything in one place, then that's
Totally.
a perfect camera.
That's a great little vlog camera too. Yeah, just stick it in your
Yeah,
pocket. So,
it's
or you could shoot a wedding.
my hip. I
Yeah.
usually have it on my hip. It's like,
Have it on your hip. That's awesome. Well, I want to close this out with one last question. If you could change anything about YouTube, if you had like a magic wand and you could change something, what is the feature, or even you can give me multiple features that you would love to see on YouTube?
wow, that is one hard question. I think
Yeah, your biggest pain
what
point.
I would, yeah, it's like what I can think of on the top of my head is probably when it comes to analytics. You see channel pages, and then you see YouTube search, and then there's this whole like massive audience coming from browse features. Like, what is browse features? Like,
Oh,
what?
browse. Yeah, browse
Yeah,
features. Yeah.
what kind of browse? What are they browsing? you know,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, browse features. Like, what is that? Where do you come from? Like, how do I apply my knowledge of getting people from the browse features to my channel? I don't know. It's like
Is that
YouTube.
is that referring to the just like the homepage when people are just kind of scrolling around?
I
I
don't
think.
know. I have no idea. It's like when you just go into the analytics, and then you watch like real time analytics, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can go in, and then you can
Yeah,
see
browse
that there's,
features.
yeah, you have the browse features.
So
But what is that? You know?
So I'm looking at mine right now, and I scrolled over. There's a little information dialogue there, and it says, "Browse features is traffic from homepage/home screen, the subscription feed, and other browsing features."
Yes,
So it's encompassing
it
a lot of different things, but
it is,
it's
and I want to see like specific what kind of browsing features.
sure. I think
So
that
it's like,
it's a good metric to look at in terms of, is your title and thumbnail good? Because basically
yeah,
it's just somebody kind of scrolling around and then they just see your title and thumbnail and they're interested enough to click on it. So I guess.
kind of dropped my headphone here. I'm just gonna plug it in. Sorry if you're listening right now and I'm just rambling over Dave, but I'm
Oh,
back
no, it's fine.
right now.
You're fine. It's all good. Cool, man. Well, I'm super stoked to follow your journey, and just super grateful to have you on the show
Thank
today.
you.
And this was wonderful meeting you over the internet.
Yeah,
And
same, same.
hopefully we'll be able to meet in person someday. So that'd be
I'm
awesome.
I'm heading over to the United States, to California in June, in the beginning of June, June 1st.
Cool. Are you gonna go
So me,
to Cine Gear or?
no, no, no. It's like I'm just heading over to actually meet Tom for the first time. You know.
Oh, great! Yeah, awesome.
uh, but we were thinking about making some sort of like, I don't know, maybe like IRL podcast, and maybe some sort of meetup. So we're gonna have to see if
Cool.
we can get something together and meet a couple of faces.
Well, I was planning on going June 9th through 12th, which is when the Cine Gear Expo takes place, which
Ah,
is like the Hollywood like NAB. So it's just tons of gear and people come together and hang out. So I don't know if you're
sweet.
going to be there during that, but that would might be worth going for a day or so because it's super fun to see all the stuff and to meet people out there. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. That's awesome, dude. Yeah. Have you been to California before?
Once I've actually been to San Francisco, but that was like
Okay.
I think I was 15 years old, so I can't really remember everything. It's more like fragments.
It's a beautiful place. I lived there for about 4 years and just left recently, but it was awesome when we were there. I miss it every day. The
That's
weather's great.
awesome.
The beach is great.
Dave disconnected.
You there?
I'm
Oh, you
not
cut out.
entirely sure if you can hear me, Dave.
Peter.
But if you can, I can't
lost
hear
you.
you. Something has happened. Well, this was Peter Lindgren from Sweden talking to you
Peter.
in the podcast. I really hope that you are going to have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't watched it. And don't forget to subscribe to Dave's YouTube channel on
You there?
YouTube, of course.
Peter.